The coronavirus pandemic, children have shown some sort of immunity to the more obvious side effects of this infection. The same SARS-CoV-2 virus capable of killing a 50-year-old might leave a 4-year-old unscathed. However, scientists are still struggling to understand how this virus affects children and whether kids can spread it to their older caregivers. According to the University of North Carolina, scientists don't fully understand why multiple kinds of coronaviruses have different levels of severity across different age groups. It is also unclear how easily kids can spread this virus, both to each other as well as to adults. According to the South Korean Center for Disease Control, one robust study of nearly 65,000 kids showed that children in the 10 to 19-year-old age range could spread COVID-19 just as effectively as adults. And according to the CDC, which is a top health body in the US, only 2% of the domestic COVID-19 cases have occurred among children under 18 years. After this, the debate to reopen schools started across the United States. A countable number of schools across the world have now either stayed open or have resumed in-person classes as well. For instance, Israel took stringent steps early on in the coronavirus pandemic, including severely restricting everyone's movement and closing all schools. The schools reopened in May with a staggered schedule and strict measures. But pretty soon, the COVID-19 cases surged, with school children and teachers among those who were infected. Over in Sweden, which never shut down schools, only students who were 16 or older stayed home with remote learning. Till now, the Swedish pediatricians have only seen a few severe cases among school children, and only a young child is believed to have died of coronavirus. Let's now tell you about Japan, which has mostly kept COVID-19 under control. And it took a conservative approach in reopening schools in the month of June. Different schools have different strategies, but generally, Japanese students attended class in person on alternating days so that classrooms are only half as full. And lunches are silent where social distancing is practiced, and students undergo daily temperature screening. In Uruguay, which is one of the Western Hemisphere's first countries to send its students back to school, it used a staged approach. In late April, Uruguay reopened schools in rural areas where the student population is small, and in early June it brought vulnerable student groups back to school. And then all students in non-urban areas went back to classrooms as well. Uruguay's successful pandemic response comes despite its proximity to hard-hit Brazil, where schools continue to remain closed.